Hi, Sarah here with a card process video using some lovely products by Crafty Ribbons. They kindly asked me to do some guest design projects for them, so watch out for my other videos. Here I'm just showing you some of the products that I'm thinking of using on this card that I'm making. I've taken a Gorgeous Girl decoupage sheet and I'm going to use a little girl with balloon, and I've also taken some Gorgeous Girl paper as well. And there's some beautiful ribbons, including that lovely stripy one that works so well with the Gorgeous Girl collection because she's always got their little stripy tights on. And then there's some lovely seam binding in there, the blue seam binding that matches really well with her dress as well. So those are the general bits and bobs I picked out. Also some star buttons in amongst them as well, and some spotty and stripy buttons, and mostly in blacks and whites there. So first of all, I'm just making my card. It's just a simple top folding card, 5.5 by 5.5 inches. I've just trimmed it down and scored it on my scoreboard. And here I'm just having a look at the two papers I've picked out, trying to work out what I want to mat the card with. So I'm putting them to one side and sorting out my decoupage. As you can see, it's all numbered, and all you do is have to pop it out and trim off a few of the little tabs that do stick out on some of them. So all I do is just trim out a few little pieces, and then I use a memento marker just to draw around the edge where the white die cut line is, so that it just makes it blend better with each layer underneath. And then I'm taking these quite thin and very tiny foam squares and using a poker tool just to pick them up and stick them down, and just adding them on, peeling the backing off, sticking the next layer on, and then I do this for each layer, inking around each edge with my marker so that they just blend well better, I think. So that's the first layer, and I'll be skipping to the finished one and giving you a quick look there. And the dark edges do make it look a bit more finished, I think. So now I've got my finished decoupage ready to go down. It's made it easy for me to sort of think about a general design, and because there is a frame, it's made it a lot easier for me to do the design. Nice and simple. I make a rookie mistake here because it has been quite a while since I've done a card. I really enjoyed making this because I haven't made a card in quite some time, and I go and glue down my mat before I've added my ribbon, where I would normally tuck it in neatly behind, so before gluing it to the card base, so all the ends are tidied in and nothing's sticking out the edge. So here I'm just choosing my colours, trying to decide where I want them. At first I thought about layering 3 seam bindings together and adding it on top, but I felt like it drew away from the stripy one, which I definitely want to use. So now I'm just sort of making my decisions, and at this point I've realised what I've done, so I'm peeling the matte layer back so that I can stick my ribbon down first. So it survives just about that piece of paper. So here I've decided to go with a diagonal ribbon embellishment bit here, a bit tongue-tied there. So I've added some blue, and then I'm going to layer the black and white on top of the blue at the top and the bottom of the card there, and I'm tucking it around my paper mat, and then obviously once it's glued down you can't see any of the edges. So I'm just using my ATG gun to stick this ribbon down because it's a nice thin tape, so it does stay inside the lines of that ribbon. But I need to get new scissors though, because it kept mangling the edges off the ribbon as I was cutting it. So it looks a bit rough at the moment, but once it's taped down to the card it smooths itself out, and it's underneath the decoupage as well, so it's always fixable. So I'm now adding adhesive again to my background and getting that stuck down again. So it's fixed. There's a couple of wrinkles on there, but I think it just looks a bit distressed. It's fine. So next up I want to make a pretty bow for the top there, so I'm just making my bow there and then just pulling my loops through, pulling the tails through, and I just keep pulling them back and forth until I'm happy with the shape. At this point I find some other scissors that won't mangle the edges, which are those giant things. And then I'll just adhere that bow down when I've decided where I'm going to put it. And I'm just using some multi-mix medium, which worked pretty well. And here I'm just adding some cheap foam tape to the back of my decoupage, just so it pops up off the card a little bit, and adding that down. And so now I've got the main bit. I now know that I'm just going to have some sort of buttons around that bottom corner that's empty, and so I'm just getting them all out, and that bow's not sticking. I'll sort it out in a bit, no doubt. And I'm just getting them all out and just having a play, seeing what I think looks nice. They've got all sorts of lovely buttons, and as you can see these ones are all black and white, but they do lots of other colours as well, and they're spotty ones and stripy ones with black spots and white spots and all sorts. And then there's some more decorative ones here, like the sort of wonky star ones. They're really nice, and there's some tiny stars and then really tiny stars, which I'm getting out here. These are little stars here, and they work so nicely as embellishments. And then these are the really tiddly ones. They're so cute, and I'm just having a play around, seeing where I want to put some. I just want to scatter them a little bit haphazard, but I don't want to leave the holes without anything through them, so I've taken some, I think it's 2mm embroidery ribbon, I think it's called, and it's super delicate and tiny. So what I've done there is just tied some little knots through the buttons, but here I've changed it up and decided to go with the really tiny stars because I'm going to add them to the centres of these butterflies, which I've cut from more Gorgeous Girl papers, and I wanted to echo the stripe in the ribbon, so I've gone with stripy, and then the blue in the ribbon, so I've gone with a blue, and then I'm just doing them alternately. And then once they're stuck down, I'm going to add my buttons to the centres of each of the butterflies, like so. They look all cute, and I'm trying to make it so that the ends of the ribbon are pointing up in the same direction as the wings, and I'm putting them down, and then I just leave them to dry as they are before adding them on. And then they just fill in that space nicely there. And then next up, once I've glued them down, I usually just glue one wing down, and then one wing can pop up to add a bit more dimension as well. And then as well as that, I'll think next I add some, I've got my Wink Stella out because I love this stuff and it's clear, and I'm just going to colour in all little bits and bobs around the page. So I add some to the butterflies, which aren't quite dry, wobbling a bit there, and to the heart balloons in the background. And then with the heart balloons I'm also going to get out, see, just showing you the sparkle on there, I'm also going to get out some glossy accents and add that to the balloons to make them more three-dimensional, and add that balloon gloss to them, and then I'll let that dry as well. Oh, made a little mistake then. If you get it pretty fast you can get glossy accents off, but you have to be very, very fast, and it's pretty unforgiving. But here I put tiny dots, and then I use my pokey tool to just spread it out a bit when it's really, really tiny details. It just helps move it around without it going over the edge too much. And then I'm just popping up one wing and helping it to stick down on the other. And I'm just showing you the dimension on there and the sparkle. And to finish it off, I just added some white gel pen to add some faux stitching for just around the edge of the ribbon and the butterflies. And here's some pictures at the end. If you'd like to get hold of some of these products, then please visit Crafty Ribbons website and join in the fun and enter their competitions on their Facebook group, which I will leave links to at the end. And if you'd like to see more from me, please like and subscribe. Bye!